Hey guys, hello and welcome to my channel. In this video we're going to be building an API authentication system. So the idea of this video is to make it in less than 10 minutes. I don't know if it's going to be possible, but we're just going to try it anyways. Also, we're not going to be using any database because the configuration of that will take more time. So we're not going to be using that. We're going to be adding some dummy data along the way. So keep that in mind. Also, just to start before we get started, I'm going to show you guys the libraries or dependencies that we're going to be using. So we're going to be using Express for routes, body-parser, so we can read the body from the request, JSON Web Token, and all so we can reload the server every time we save. So with that in mind, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do with the project is to add the start script here. So we can start with node.js. We're gonna say index.js. Okay. Let's save this. So now we can run our project, but first in our index.js, that it is our entry point, we're gonna require some libraries first. So we're gonna require express from express, and we are also going to require in this case body-parser from body-parser. Awesome. Okay, so now we need to define our app. So in this case, app, it was express. And we are going to listen to a port. So we define the port here. We're gonna say 3000 for now, and we're gonna say app.listen in our port. And here we are just gonna print console log app listening on port. And I forgot to add this here, and we set port. Okay, now if we save it and if we're trying to run npm start, we should get our application up and running. Okay, so now we have the basics. Now I'm just gonna start with adding our body parser in our app. So I'm gonna say app.use, and here I'm gonna say body parser.json. That should be it. Now I'm gonna define some dummy data for the users. I'm just gonna define a simple array with, oh my god, it's not working. Okay, I'm gonna define just an email. In this case, I'm gonna use user1.example.com, and I'm also going to define a password. This case is just going to be user1, and I'm gonna do this 2 more times. So we're gonna have 3 users in our app. It's gonna be user2, user3. Okay, awesome. So now that we have our dummy data, I'm gonna start by adding our endpoints. We're gonna have 2 endpoints. We're gonna have our get endpoint, and this is going to be our protected endpoint. And from here, we're gonna just use this callback retrest. And for now, we are not gonna return anything. But here is where we are gonna have our protected data. And then for our login, we're gonna use post. And same. So we're gonna start with our protected endpoint. So here we're just going to we need to add a middleware in order to protect this endpoint or any endpoint in the future. So for that, we're gonna define a function, and we're gonna say verify user. And from here, I want to start maybe. No, we're just gonna define it, and then we will add the functionality. But for now, we're just gonna say verify user every time someone hits this protected endpoint. Let me see how we're doing with the time. No, we are not gonna do it. Okay, awesome. Now that we have our protected and our login, we are going to read our body. So we're gonna say const email and password, and we're gonna say this is coming from the body. Okay, now so from here we are just gonna say if we don't have an email, or a password, we're gonna return a status of 504, and we are gonna say we're gonna send missing required fields. Okay. Okay, perfect. Now we are going to find our user base in the email and password that we received from the body. So we're gonna say const user is equals to users.find. I'm gonna say user here, u.emails equal emails. I'm gonna find for the email, and also we need to find a match for the password. Okay. So in this case, if we don't find any user, we're going to return status 404 that send user does not exist. If not, we're gonna create a token, and this token we are gonna require first our JWT library. So we're gonna ask for the library JSON web token. Okay, perfect. And we're gonna come back here and we verify that we have a user. Okay, so now here we're gonna say const token. I'm gonna say JWT sign. We're gonna sign and we're gonna send our email. Only our email is like the payload, and our secret 123. It's not really that important for now, and we need to return this token to the user. So we send and we send the token. So now I'm gonna save it, and we're gonna go to Postman, and we're gonna test our endpoint. This case is our post, and this is localhost 3000, and we're gonna use our login. Okay, perfect. So now let me try send this. So it says missing required fields. So this part here is working, but we're gonna try to send a JSON and an email. I'm gonna say user1 at thatexample.com, and we are also okay. I need to use double all of these ones. Okay, and for our password, we're gonna say user1. Okay, we try to send it. We receive a token, and for example, you say that we trying to log in with user 2 and the password of user 1. We receive user does not exist. Okay, perfect. So this is working. Just gonna leave it to 2 back here. Now we're gonna work in our protected endpoint. Okay, now everyone can access this endpoint, but we are gonna do the verification in this function that we just created. So this is not really that difficult. From the middleware, we receive request and next, request, response, and next. And from here, we're just gonna say we're gonna read the token from the authorization headers. So we say headers authorization. Okay, and if we don't have a token, okay, we are gonna say we're gonna return res status of 401 then token is required. So to test this, let's save it. Let's add a new tab here. This is a GET request, but we're gonna go into our protected route. So in this case, we are not gonna pass any authorizations, so we should get the error that the token is required. Okay, perfect, it's working. Okay, now we need to add this into a try catch, and from here we're gonna say user, and we're gonna verify this token because we already passed this verification, so we should have the token. We are gonna say token, our secret, the same secret that we added below, and from here we're gonna say if user, we want to add this user into the request user, and from here we just pass this user. Oh my god. And we return next. This user is basically what we are gonna have in this user is this payload that we added in here. Let me see here, this email. So this is what we are gonna be passing on this rect.user. Okay, so we have the user, we return next, so we can continue with our function over here. Okay, so now we get an error. We're just going to copy and paste this one. I'm gonna say for 1, and we're gonna say we're gonna just send the error that we might get from this verification, or any error actually. Okay, so now that to verify that we have, this is basically also, I forgot about that, but this is basically all we need for the middleware. Okay, so now to verify that this is working, we're gonna get the user, break the user. This user is this one that we pass over here on the middleware, and we're gonna say return res.json, and we're gonna return our user. Okay, so let's test if this endpoint is working. So now we don't have like an authorization, so if I try to send it, we say token is required. Now if I pass an authorization header and the value is not valid, we're gonna get a JWT malformant, so this is not a valid token. So in this case I'm gonna log in, we get the token, and from here we can pass the value in this authorization, we send it, and we should get the user to addexample.com. That this is the user that we just log in. So if I go to user 3 and I send it, and in here I replace the token and I send it again, we get the user 3 add example. And as you guys can see, this is basically all we need for an API authentication system. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Please subscribe, like the video. I'm gonna try to be doing more videos like this one in the future. So yeah, see you guys on the next one.